The massive Zarkonian battlecruiser hung in space above Earth like a metal storm cloud. Commander Zex stood on the bridge, his forearms crossed, watching the blue planet below. He had given the humans 72 hours to surrender. That was 60 hours ago. Sir, the humans still refused to respond, his lieutenant reported. On Earth, in the underground bunker beneath Geneva, Admiral Sarah Chun studied the old files. Files that most people thought were myths. Project Titan, Project Phoenix, Project Leviathan. Ships built during humanity's first space age, then hidden away. Sleeping giants waiting for the right moment. Admiral, are you sure about this? Captain Jung-hoon asked, looking at the dusty activation codes. Sarah nodded. The Zarkonian Empire thinks we're weak because we stopped building warships 200 years ago. They don't know we never destroyed the old ones. Meanwhile, on Mars Colony, engineer Min Jung received a strange signal. Deep beneath the Martian surface, something was powering up. Ancient reactors hummed to life for the first time in centuries. The ground shook as massive doors, hidden under red dust, began to open. Commander Zex grew impatient. Fire a warning shot. Destroy their moon base. The Zarkonian weapon charged and fired. The human moon base exploded in silence. 300 colonists died in seconds. Sarah's eyes turned cold. They crossed the line. She inserted the activation key and turned it. Wake them all. Across the solar system, on moons and asteroids, in the depths of Earth's oceans, and in hidden orbital stations, ancient systems came online. Lights flickered on massive ships that had been sleeping for generations. The Titans were waking up. On the bridge of his ship, Zex's confidence began to fade as his sensors picked up strange readings. "What is that?" he asked, pointing at the screen. From behind Earth's moon, a ship emerged. Then another. Then 10 more. They were huge, angular, and covered in weapons. These weren't the small patrol ships the Empire expected. These were warships from humanity's violent past, when they fought among themselves. Now they had a common enemy. Captain Seo Yan sat in the command chair of the UES Retribution, one of the awakened Titans. Her crew was small, but the ship's AI, called Ares, compensated. "All weapons online, Captain," Ares announced. "Target locked on Zarkonian flagship. Send them a message," Seo Yan said. "Tell them they have one chance to leave." Zex received the message and laughed. "Primitive vessels. Our shields can withstand anything they have." He was wrong. The first human ship fired a kinetic weapon, a simple metal rod accelerated to near light speed. It punched through the Zarkonian shields like paper and tore a hole through their hull. Alarms screamed across Zex's bridge. "Impossible." Zex shouted, "Our shields are impervious." Sarah's voice came through the communication channel. "Your shields were designed for energy weapons, Commander. We humans learned long ago that sometimes the old ways work best. Throw a rock hard enough, and shields mean nothing." More human ships appeared. From Jupiter's moons, from asteroid fields, from Mars. Hundreds of them, all armed with weapons the galaxy had forgotten existed. Railguns, nuclear missiles, kinetic kill vehicles. Brutal, simple, effective. The Zarkonian fleet, despite their advanced technology, found themselves facing an enemy that fought differently. The humans didn't use fancy energy shields or plasma weapons. They used armor, missiles, and guns that fired solid metal at incredible speeds. "Retreat," Zex ordered, his voice cracking with fear. "Signal the Empire. Tell them Earth is not defenseless." But Sarah wasn't done. "Commander Zex, before you run, know this. We humans spent centuries fighting each other. We got very good at war. We chose peace, but we never forgot how to fight. You killed our people on the moon. That debt must be paid. The human fleet advanced, their ancient engines roaring to life, pushing the Zarkonian invaders back. Earth had answered, and the galaxy would remember this day, that asterisk 20-4 hours after activation. Admiral Chun stood in the command center, watching dozens of status reports stream in. Each one represented another sleeping warship coming back online. The Titan-class vessels were just the beginning. "Admiral, we have a problem," Captain Jung-hoon reported, pulling up a holographic display. "The Zarkonian Empire is sending reinforcements. 3 full battle fleets." Sarah studied the data. "How long?" 7 days, maybe less." In the asteroid belt, the massive doors of Ceres Station groaned open. Inside, engineer Min Jun and his team worked frantically to activate humanity's most dangerous creation, the Leviathan. Unlike the Titans, which were battleships, the Leviathan was something else entirely. A ship designed not just to fight, but to end wars. "Power core at 30%, Min Jun announced, sweat dripping down his face despite the cold. "We need more time." Commander Zex, retreating with his damaged fleet, sent urgent messages to the Empire. "The humans have weapons we don't understand. They use primitive technology, but it works. Send the entire fleet." The Zarkonian Emperor, Zircon the Mighty, received the message with disgust. "One small planet resists, and you run? I will come myself with a grand armada. We will teach these humans the price of defiance." Back on Earth, Sarah gathered her commanders. The virtual meeting included captains from across the system. SEO Yan appeared from the Retribution, now stationed near Mars. Other commanders joined from ships with names like Vengeance, Prometheus, and Thunderbolt. "We have 7 days before the Empire arrives in force," Sarah began. "Our ancestors built these ships when humanity was divided. Now we stand united. Show me status reports." The numbers were encouraging, but not enough. Humanity had activated 200 warships, but the Zarkonian Grand Armada numbered in thousands. "We need the Leviathan operational," Sarah said firmly. Captain Jung-hoon shook his head. "Admiral, the Leviathan was built as a last resort. Its main weapon. We don't even know if it still works. Then we better find out." On Ceres, Min Jun's team made a discovery. Hidden in the Leviathan's database were messages from the original builders. Videos from 300 years ago, when humanity first reached for the stars and found them full of dangers. "Listen to this," Min Jun called to his team. Playing an old recording. An ancient admiral appeared on screen, his uniform from a time before United Earth. "If you're watching this, it means humanity faces extinction. The Leviathan isn't just a ship. It's our answer to any force that threatens our existence. The Nova cannon can crack a moon in half. Use it wisely." Min Jun felt the weight of responsibility. "Get me more power cells. We're bringing this monster online." In deep space, Zex's retreating fleet encountered something unexpected. A human ship, alone, waiting for them. It was smaller than a Titan, painted black with no visible weapons. The name on its hull read, "Whisper." "Destroy it," Zex ordered. The Zarkonian weapons fired, but the Whisper vanished. Not with a hyperdrive jump, but simply disappeared. Then it reappeared behind them and transmitted a single message. Stealth technology. Another gift from our violent past. "Your sensors can't see us when we don't want to be seen. How many invisible ships do you think are watching you right now?" Zex's crew panicked, scanning frantically for invisible enemies. They found nothing, but the fear was planted. On Earth, Sarah received intelligence from the stealth ships scattered throughout the system. "The Empire is bigger than we thought. Even with all our ships, we're outnumbered 50-1. Then we don't fight fair," Cezeon suggested over the comm. "Humans never won by fighting fair. We won by being clever." Sarah nodded. "Activate Project Pandora." Jung-hoon's eyes widened. "Admiral, that's..." That's biological warfare. No, Captain. It's targeted nanotechnology. We're not going to kill them. We're going to disable every ship in their fleet without firing a shot. The nanoswarm will eat through their hull materials, leaving the crew unharmed but stranded. The preparations continued. Humanity pulled every trick from its warlike past. Mines that looked like space debris. Computer viruses designed to infiltrate alien systems. EMP weapons that could fry electronics from millions of miles away. The Zarkonian Empire expected to fight an inferior race with inferior technology. They didn't expect to fight humans who had spent centuries perfecting the art of war before choosing peace. Now, with the gloves off, the galaxy would learn why humans had once feared themselves. Asterisk. 5 days remained before the Grand Armada arrived. Admiral Chun stood before a tactical display showing the entire solar system. Red dots marked Zarkonian positions. Blue showed human forces. The odds looked impossible. Admiral, the Leviathan is at 70% power, Ninjun reported from Ceres. We can move it, but the Nova cannon needs more time. Move it to Earth's dark side. Keep it hidden, Sarah ordered. She turned to Jung-hoon. Status on Pandora? The nanoswarms are ready. 20 billion units loaded into delivery missiles. Meanwhile, Emperor Zircon himself stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator. The massive vessel stretched 50 kilometers long, bristling with weapons that had conquered 100 worlds. My lord, his advisor said, Commander Zex warns that the humans fight unconventionally. Zircon laughed, a sound like grinding metal. I have destroyed civilizations that spanned entire star systems. Earth is one planet with primitive weapons. Zex is a coward. Back in the solar system, Captain Seo Yan led a strike team of 30 Titan-class ships to Jupiter. There, hidden in the gas giant storms, they prepared humanity's first surprise. Deploy the net, she ordered. Thousands of small satellites spread out, each one connected by invisible energy fields. Together, they formed a trap that could catch an entire fleet. The stealth ship Whisper, commanded by Captain Torres, moved silently through space toward the incoming armada. Its mission was simple but dangerous. Deliver false intelligence that would lead the enemy into the trap. Broadcasting fake distress signal now, Torres announced. The message claimed to be from human colonists wanting to surrender. Giving coordinates near Jupiter.Zerkhon received the message and smiled. You see? They break already. Set course for these coordinates. We will accept their surrender, then destroy Earth as an example. On Earth, Sarah coordinated with resistance cells that had been preparing for this moment. In hidden bunkers, old soldiers came out of retirement. They might be too old for space combat, but they could operate ground-based weapons. Remember, Sarah broadcast to all forces, we don't need to win. We need to survive long enough to bloody their nose. Make invasion so costly that the Empire decides Earth isn't worth it. The Zarkonian Grand Armada, 5,000 ships strong, entered the solar system. Their sensors immediately detected the human fleet. 200 ships gathered near Earth. Zircon laughed at the pathetic display. All ships, prepare for glorious victory, he announced. But something was wrong. Zex, watching from his damaged ship, noticed it first. My lord, the human ships ... They're not trying to form battle lines. They're spreading out. They flee in fear. Zircon declared. No, Zex whispered, remembering the human admiral's words about old ways. They're hunting. Suddenly, the whisper decloaked right in the middle of the armada and launched a single missile. Not at any ship, but into empty space. The missile exploded, releasing the Pandora nano-swarm dot like a silver cloud. The microscopic machines spread through space, attracted to the specific metal alloys used in Zarkonian hull plating. Within seconds, they reached the first ships. Hull breach. Came the panicked reports. Multiple breaches. The hull is dissolving. Zircon watched in horror as dozens of his ships began venting atmosphere. The nanomachines ate through their hulls like acid, creating thousands of tiny holes. The crews were safe. The swarm was programmed to avoid organic material, but the ships were dying. Retreat from the cloud. Zircon ordered. Use energy weapons to destroy it. But the swarm was too dispersed. Energy weapons only scattered it further. A tenth of the armada was disabled in the first hour. Near Jupiter, the remaining ships detected the supposed colonists' signal. Eager to claim some victory, a battle group of 500 ships moved toward the coordinates .co-YEON, waited until they were in position. Spring the trap, the energy net activated, creating a gravitational anomaly that pulled the ships together. They collided, shields failing, hulls cracking. Then the Titans opened fire with their kinetic weapons, turning the trapped fleet into scrap metal. Impossible. Zircon raged. How are primitives doing this? From Earth, Sarah opened a channel to the Emperor. We're not primitives, Zircon. We're the species that invented total war. We chose peace, but we never forgot war. You still have time to leave. Zircon's response was to order all remaining ships to attack Earth directly. No more games. No more tactics. Just overwhelming force. Sarah watched them coming and nodded to Yungun. Phase 3. Wake the Phoenix fleet. From the sun's corona, where no one thought to look, 100 more ships emerged, their hulls glowing with solar energy. Humanity's last surprise was about to be revealed. The Phoenix fleet emerged from the sun's corona like demons from hell. Their hulls, designed to withstand solar radiation, glowed white-hot. Captain Mikhail commanded the lead ship, Phoenix Prime, as they accelerated toward the Zarkonian armada. Solar capacitors at maximum, his weapons officer reported. We absorbed enough energy to power our weapons for days. Emperor Zircon watched. These new ships appear on his sensors with growing unease. His armada, though still numerically superior, had lost nearly 1,000 ships to human tricks. All ships, concentrate fire on Earth. He commanded. Ignore their fleet. Destroy the planet. But Admiral Chun had anticipated this. Activate the orbital defense grid. Around Earth, thousands of hidden satellites came online. Each one was simple, just a mirror and a laser. But together, they formed a defensive screen that could redirect and amplify energy. Attacks. The first wave of Zarkonian plasma fire hit the grid. The satellites caught the energy, bounced it between them, amplified it, and sent it back. The Empire's own weapons turned against them, destroying dozens of their ships. On series, Minjun watched the power readings spike. Admiral, the Leviathan is at 90%. A Nova cannon will be ready in 1 hour. Move it into position, Sarah ordered. Target their flagship, the massive Leviathan, 5 times larger than any Titan, began its slow journey toward Earth. Its hull was scarred and ancient, but its reactor hummed with terrible power. In space, the battle turned into chaos. Human ships used hit-and-run tactics, appearing from behind asteroids, firing kinetic rounds, then disappearing. The Phoenix fleet used their solar-charged weapons to create miniature stars that blinded enemy sensors. Co Yan led her Titans in a desperate charge against the Empire's main battle line. Remember, we're not trying to win a fair fight. We're trying to make them bleed. The Retribution fired its main gun, a rail cannon that accelerated a uranium rod to 90% light speed. It punched through 3 Zarkonian ships before stopping, but return fire crippled her engines. We're dead in space? Her engineer reported. Then we make our stand here, Co Yan replied. All weapons, continuous fire. Watching from his throne, Zircon grew more frustrated. His grand armada was winning, but at a terrible cost. For every human ship destroyed, they lost 10 of their own. These humans fought like cornered animals, savage and without mercy. Commander Zex approached his emperor. "My lord, we've lost 2,000 ships. Perhaps we should consider silence. We are the Zarkonian Empire. We do not retreat from primitives." But Zex had learned something Zircon hadn't. They're not primitives, my lord. They're survivors. They survived wars that would have destroyed most species. We've awakened something that should have stayed sleeping. On Earth, Sarah received reports from across the system. They were losing ships fast, but the enemy was paying for every meter of space. Then came the message she'd been waiting for. "Admiral, Leviathan is in position. Nova cannon charged and ready." Sarah looked at the tactical display. The enemy flagship was protected by hundreds of escorts. One shot. They'd get one shot before the Empire figured out what the Leviathan was and concentrated all fire on it. "Min Jun, you have the shot," Sarah said. On the Leviathan's bridge, Min Jun sat in the captain's chair. His hand hovered over the firing control. The Nova cannon hadn't been fired in 300 years. It channeled the power of a small star into a beam that could crack planets. "Target locked on enemy. Flagship," the AI announced. "Fire." The Leviathan shuddered as the Nova cannon discharged. A beam of pure white energy, brighter than the sun, lanced through space. It vaporized everything in its path. Debris, fighters, even light seemed to bend around it. Emperor Zircon had just enough time to see death coming before the beam hit. The Dominator's shields held for exactly 0.3 seconds before failing. The massive flagship, 50 kilometers of the Empire's might, was cut in half like paper. The explosion that followed was visible from Earth's surface. Citizens who had been watching the battle in the night sky saw a new star appear and fade. The Zarkonian fleet fell into chaos. Their emperor was dead. Their flagship destroyed. They had lost half their armada to an enemy that shouldn't have been able to fight back. Commander Zex, now the ranking officer, made the only sensible decision. All ships retreat. Full retreat. Earth is protected. But the humans weren't done. As the Empire fled, Sarah sent one final message. "Tell the galaxy what happened here. Earth chose peace, but we remember war. Come in peace, and we'll welcome you. Come in war, and we'll remind you why humans once feared themselves." Asterisk. 3 days after the Zarkonian Empire fled, Admiral Sarah Chun stood in the ruins of the Geneva Command Center. The surface had been hit by stray fire during the battle, but humanity had survived. "Casualty report," she requested quietly. Captain Jung-hoon handed her the datapad. 8,000 military personnel, 12,000 civilians from the destroyed lunar colony. But Admiral ... We won. Sarah looked at the numbers. "No, Captain. We survived. There's a difference. Across the solar system, the ancient warships began returning to their hiding places. The Titans settled back into their asteroid bases. The Phoenix fleet took position near Mercury, ready to charge in the sun again if needed. But the Leviathan remained visible, orbiting Earth like a guardian angel. Min Jun, now promoted to Admiral of the Leviathan, received a transmission from deep space. It wasn't Zarkonian. The language was unknown, but the universal mathematics were clear, a request to communicate. Admiral Chun were being contacted by someone else. Within hours, 12 different alien civilizations had sent messages to Earth. They had watched the battle. They had seen the Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for centuries, run from one small planet. The first to arrive in person were the Altarians, a peaceful race of traders. Their ambassador, a crystalline being that sparkled in Earth's sunlight, spoke through a translator. For 100 cycles, we hid from the Empire. We watched them conquer and destroy. Then we watched you make them flee. How? Sarah met the alien in the rebuilt United Earth Assembly. We learned something from our own history. Peace is not weakness. It's a choice made by those strong enough to win war, but wise enough to avoid it. The Altarians shimmered, their version of nodding. The Empire will return. They always do. Then we'll be ready, Captain Sioyan said from her wheelchair. She'd survived the Retribution's last stand, but would never walk again. And next time, we won't be alone. The Altarian produced a data crystal. This contains the locations of 17 species oppressed by the Empire. They wish to learn from you. Over the following weeks, Earth became a gathering point. The Salvani, aquatic beings who had lost their homeworld to the Empire. The Nexus Collective, artificial intelligences that the Empire hunted for sport. The Gari, whose peaceful philosophy made them easy targets. They all came with the same question. How did humanity defeat the Empire? Min Jun found himself teaching alien engineers about kinetic weapons. You've all focused on energy weapons and shields. But physics is physics. F equals ma works everywhere. Throw something fast enough, and shields designed for energy won't stop it. Seo Yan, despite her injuries, trained alien commanders in guerrilla tactics. You don't fight the enemy's war. You fight your war. Make them play by your rules. But the most important change came from an unexpected source. Commander Zex, the Zarkonian, who had led the first attack on Earth, returned alone in a small ship. I request asylum, he said, standing before the Earth Assembly. And I bring a warning. Sarah studied the four-armed alien. Speak. The Empire is fractured. Emperor Zircon's death created a power vacuum. 3 factions fight for control. But whoever wins will return here to prove their strength. You have perhaps 1 Earth year. Why help us? Jung-hoon asked suspiciously. Zex's forearms spread in what seemed like a shrug. Because I learned something when we attacked. You humans could have destroyed our entire fleet with that Nova cannon. You could have hunted us down as we fled. But you didn't. You fought to protect, not to conquer. The galaxy needs that. Sarah made a decision that would change everything. Then we teach them. All of them. Earth's ancient warships became training vessels. Human officers taught alien crews how to fight dirty, how to use old technology in new ways, how to turn weakness into strength. The nanoswarm technology was shared, with safeguards. The stealth systems were explained. Most importantly, humanity shared something else, their history. They showed the aliens their wars, their mistakes, the times they almost destroyed themselves. And they showed how they chose to change. This is why we're dangerous, Sarah explained to the assembled alien representatives. Not because we're warriors, but because we're warriors who chose peace. We know exactly how terrible we can be, so we choose to be better. But when threatened, we remember. A year later, when the reunified Zarkonian Empire returned with an even larger fleet, they found not 1 defended planet, but an alliance of 50 species, all trained by humans, all carrying human weapons, all ready to fight. The Second Battle of Earth lasted exactly 47 minutes. Empire never returned, and in the Galactic Council's records, next to Earth's entry, someone wrote, "Here be dragons. Friendly dragons, but dragons nonetheless. Asterisk.